I'm doing just fine. How are you?
Good, thank you. So thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. I would much rather be having this chat with you in person in Curaçao, but here we are in our new Zoom normal. So thanks very much for your time today. We're really excited to learn more about Curaçao and all your plans for tourism recovery. And, I suppose before we get to that, tell us a little bit more about yourself and, the mandate with the Curaçao Hospitality and Tourism Association.
I think my name says it all, Miles Mercera. I'm a young professional. I'm working with a lot of miles, as they say. I'm working around the clock. And in the past, basically my entire life, I've been dedicated my journey, my passion for the tourism industry. It is also what I call my personal passion. It's great to be able to fulfill this role for this island, which I love as well, representing the tourism industry, making sure that the 16,000 jobs that we represent on island really also brings that economic value. And I think that is what tourism is all about. It's business and it's economic value. And that's also my personal passion in my journey throughout life. I've always had the passion for entrepreneurship. I've also always had a passion for basically creating new individuals in the world who can be self-sustainable and financially free. And I think the tourism industry is also one tool that we can use to be financially independent as a country, as a nation. And I think that's our biggest contribution. And that's also my aim personally. And within this role, representing the private tourism sector, it is a great experience to be able to get the balance between interest and general interest, but also understanding business ethics, understanding how investors take on decisions and what their decisions are, and basically for you to have that over helicopter view in general of life and your tourism industry is something what still today amazes me, and especially during this COVID-19 situation, you really get to understand not only the personal values of everyone, but really the hardmanship when it comes to having a business. And people only see the glory, or oh, you are the owner or you are the investor, but it really comes down to having and taking risk and really and believing in something bigger than whatever you're investing in. And I think that's I think the big difference between the perception of what an investor does or what a business owner does, or even a team member does when they're working for you. And I think that's it goes far more beyond than just a paycheck. And I think that is as well for me one of the learning experience throughout this COVID situation. And I think based on that, with this intro, I think that also sums up the person I am. I'm a very into a person kind of person. So meaning that I really value the connections. I really try to understand business behavior, personal behavior, how you make up decisions, what are the things that led to that decision. And I think that really sums up as well me as a person. And I think I always say that growth comes starting with yourself. And that to me is it's not only in the business mindset, but also personally, growth is also something that we also always have to strive for as a person, as you navigate through what is called life.
I agree with you more. I think that the themes of growth and resilience have really come to the forefront through this whole time as well. Recently I read that in collaboration with the government, CHATA has released phase 1 of your tourism recovery plan. And I wondered if you could give us a few highlights from this report, as well as I think you have a best practices protocol as well.
Well, I think for the past few weeks, all of us in the Caribbean and globally were thinking, okay, how do we open up back again? How can we stimulate business again? And we all know the similar as bigger countries, when we went into a lockdown phase, you have to go back into opening phase. But then it always goes in phases. Either you change the timing or you remove certain policies that you can have more people enjoying a meal together, whatever it is. And that's the same mindset that we said that we have to do for our tourism industry as well. The phase 1 plan basically was a plan for the duration of the COVID lockdown, where we saw that we had limited air service availability. We only had one flight servicing the island from Amsterdam, flying empty on a weekly basis because they could not, or they did not want to stop that connectivity due to cargo and other obligations with the country. We said, why not still make it an opportunity to let some people come into the destination, even though we're waiting for the big opening of the borders and the airports and travel to start again. So the phase one really touched base on how can you have within a controlled environment, allowing visitors to come back to your destination, even if it's maybe a 500 a month, whatever the amount is, because at the end of the day, we already knew that for this season, for this quarter, we were already at zero. So whatever comes in could also be an extra benefit for the destination. And that was basically a phase one, which was for May and June. But the focus was primarily on then as well developing the protocols for as of July 1st. And we all know that the entire tourism industry relies on having the flow of passengers back, from car rentals to restaurants to hotels, well, you name it. And we were so focused on how can you still deliver service, but then keeping the social distancing regulations in mind. And that is something that the creativity really comes to mind, where you really have to focus on delivering the best services possible, keeping that hospitality flavor within your branch, but still taking the note of those rules and regulations of social distancing. And that's, I think, where technology played a very important role in our protocols. So currently in the last 3 weeks, we have presented our final best practices protocols report, which is a report covering all segments of our industry, talking about the adjustments, changes that each individual business owner should do to be able to service or welcome visitors back, with the aim that by July 1st, we are all supposed to be ready with the new norm and regulations. Because at the end of the day, it's not only about protecting our local population, but also about making sure that we have the right message for the consumers who are wanting to travel again, that it's traveling is also safe. And I think that's where I think the main focus of the protocol report was. And we are currently in the phase of implementing, but also training our personnel to be able to use new technology of maybe ordering something from a menu, but it's the digital menu, or maybe ordering a room service, but then without having to touch the phone. And even though there are many things that were already implemented around the world, it's, I think, now in a faster pace that you're now making use of technology within the service industry, hospitality industry, to be able to basically make sure that you are up to par, ready in terms of giving service within the social distancing guidelines.
Right, right. And that's really great to hear. I mean, this is a huge undertaking in training and development as well, right? And a couple of other Caribbean jurisdictions we've spoken to have also spoken about the cultural shift, right? Especially understanding social distancing. How are you working through that through the industry locally, both, you know, this shift in service as well as sort of a mindset?
Well, we have our CHATA Academy, which is basically an online virtual academy, where we have several sessions throughout the week since the lockdown, 15th of March locally. We have had basically an online platform for all of our partners, but also people in the industry who lost their job, to be able to, one, keep them motivated, but also keep on inspiring them to learn more and educate themselves on new avenues. And for example, this week we had a few workshops or trainings on effective communication. And I think besides the protocols, it's very important for us to understand that how are you going to communicate in the new future with your consumer, with your visitors. And it also where we have broken down again the different type of cultures. For example, what does a certain communication style mean for somebody coming from Brazil versus somebody coming from Europe or from Miami. So we have tried to basically identify the different types of cultures, identify what they perceive as normal, what certain maybe actions that you can take can also mean something else in a different country or culture. And then that's where we really are preparing on basically the hardcore training for our individuals in the industry to understand these are the layers of service that we have to really understand and grasp. beside that, I think the mindset is very, very important in everything that we do in life. That's why we as well had several workshops on basically making sure that we all have the right mindset for growth. If we continue practicing the crisis mindset, we're still juggling only what's happening today and looking at the past few weeks. But we have to focus on what will this change mean for the future. And if your mindset is focused on the future, to be able to understand what's coming up next, how can you improve? What are the new services being offered? How can you change your menu to be adapted to the social distancing policies, whatever it is? Your mindset should go into the shift of recovery, focusing on the future, which will also push yourself forward. And I think that's as well in everything that we did in the past few weeks or months, was focus on growth mindset, recovery mindset, and focusing on the future will become better. And I think once you have that in mind, you can start thinking back again clearly. Okay, so what can we do? Where can I invest? And we have seen in the past few months or weeks several hotels and restaurants making use of the time, for example, to refurbish, redo all of their paintings and walls and restaurants, and offering change up their menu items, because at the end of the day, make use of this time without sitting still thinking, okay, I'm going down. Make use of the time and taking that extra risk to prepare yourself for the future.
Wonderful. And kudos to you and your team on the CHATA Academy. I think you're doing a great job with that as well. What are some key changes that visitors to Curaçao can expect to see? Everything from, say, the arrival experience at the airport through to their stay.
Well, I think one of the main things comes into, of course, the cleaning policy. The hygiene protocol is even more on a higher level than before. Coming down from the airport, what we already have in the planning is, for example, disinfecting the luggages coming into the destination. We have also identified maybe how the transfer process will go to the different hotels. I think at the end of the day, the whole journey of a customer locally will be more in line with what the global consumer mindset is also looking for, meaning personalized service, more individual approach, nothing more about having those big groups coming together within a big bus, also not standing in line with big groups of people. I think at the end of the day, Curaçao, for the past few years, we have already been in that segment, and now we can really make use of that segment. Traditionally, Curaçao, we have a lot of small boutique type of properties, a lot of boutique-oriented villas, etc., a lot of bungalows being rented out. So that basically also showcases the island in a different way. We already had the rooms of bungalows within maybe 20 meters between each bungalow. So that also gives you a lot of privacy, but also more of a personalized service, but also taking into consideration the new social distancing policies that will remain in place for the next few months or even years. We already have a product that is designed for that market. So we are not the destination where you have the big all-inclusive with 800 rooms or 1,000 room properties, or maybe the buffet stations. No, it's very personalized, very one-on-one. We have restaurants with maybe 10 tables or 20 tables, and we always thought that was maybe a weakness of us because we're very small and intimate. But now we can really use it as our benefit when we open up to the world, that we can really offer that personalized boutique experience, which I think consumers will be looking for moving forward now in 2020 and beyond. I was inspired by, I think, my community itself in Curaçao, especially in a time that really we went back to zero from tourism industry, from economy perspective, with people also losing their jobs, people around me also losing their jobs. But I think the conversations that went from 0 to 100 real quick in the past 2 months gave me the energy and also the inspiration on how to move forward and where to engage in. And conversations, not only talking about the struggles in life, but really being open on what are our concerns, what are our limitations, or maybe what are things that we are afraid of. And I think that's where I saw the truest power of having surround yourself by great people, which is based in this case my community, and with people really talking and openly talking about, you know what, maybe it's time for us to take a step back. Maybe it's time for us to maybe spend some less money here and invest in this. Really a community coming together. That's where I think I got my the biggest inspiration in, and also with the hope for the future. People talking about better days are coming ahead. Also pushing each other to that, and I think in the past few months as well, we have seen several initiatives that we also worked on in maybe bringing food, maybe what we call the Voedselbank, which is basically a food bank where we with different volunteers work together to make sure that the people who are without money, without food currently, to also to get something to be able to survive during this difficult period of COVID, which means losing your job with no money. And I think just seeing that combination of people coming together, that to me was the inspiration overall in terms of this COVID part. And I think in the first phase of COVID, it really shook me. And I wrote a blog on my personal blog on milesmercera.com talking that COVID-19 was my worst nightmare. And I asked my readers, wake me up from this my worst nightmare, just because I really saw the whole industry coming down step by step, with not one announcement by the other, with the closing of hotels and car rentals, and closing of schools around me, etc., which was to me something so surreal, that I really thought that this was a dream. But at the end of the day, if you have the right mindset, you can be able to still breathe and understand the overall phase that we're coming through or coming in. So I think that to me was my biggest inspiration, to really not only lift myself up, but also give me the creative energy and power to move forward. And at the end of the day, I always believe that we are as strong as our community, or as strong as the people around us. And that's, I think, a saying that really goes into what happened in COVID, where you see how the world is also engaging with each other thanks to technology, just to follow up with each other and having those conversations and asking, oh, how are you, etc. Those are the things that I think we all lift forward to and look forward to and live by and up to. I think that is to me my inspiration when I have to sum it up for this season.
So, as someone who's never visited Curaçao and would absolutely love to visit at some point soon, I hope. Tell us, what are some of your favorite things to do?
My personal passion is always food. I love to eat, so I always ask people to, once you visit the island, please make sure that you go to a local fish market and maybe try our local fish, our fried fish. My personal place which is called Purunchi, which is a small shack with about 6 tables. And the owner is the one fishing, and her husband, and we're basically together as a couple. They also cook the fish and they prepare the fish. And once you're there, it's basically you're eating at your aunt's place or your favorite grandma. And you're eating there, and it's very personalized, and you get only like whatever their special is on their catch of the day on that day. You really see it from the waters going into the pan and being cooked or fried. And I think that to me is a very special place, which is called Purunchi. At the end of the day, it all boils down to the human touch, the human experience. And how can you make something so authentic and real be part of your industry? And I think that's where Curacao really stands out. And I think that's why I always call Purunchi my favorite place. But I also talk about maybe the beaches. We have over 31 secluded beaches. We don't have one stretch of long white sandy beaches, but we have over 31. And each one of them, it's like a private, intimate cove. And I think we have a lot of public beaches. You have to do your own thing, go with your own jug, your own juices, your own water, your own food. There is no service on the beach. It's all you and the beach and nature. And that's, I think, what really makes Curacao unique, that it's not a commercial island. And I think that's as well my personal favorite spot for a beach is again then Knip. I think one of the best beaches, which is also on the back on my screen that you see, just the blue turquoise water. This is what we call Curacao. This is what I call paradise. I think the entire region has something special to offer, but of course Curacao, as in your own destination, you always feel that it's extra special just because you also belong there.
After after that wonderful description, I'm basically going to go to Air Canada and see if there are any flights.
That's a bet.
What's happening with airlift? What are we, what's sort of on sort of this trail recovery?
Well, basically, we just shared today with our membership as well the new air service schedule for 2020 for the remaining of the month, starting July. And we're very thrilled to have all airline partners who have confirmed that they're going to start back service. The majority of the airline partners will commence service as of July. So we're very happy with that, with the commitment. That means that they also believe in the destination even after the aftermath of the COVID-19. We have confirmations from JetBlue and American Airlines from Miami and New York. We have confirmations from Canada with Air Canada as well, starting to fly as per the summer 2020 and beyond. From Europe as well, Amsterdam, KLM, and TUI are already scheduled to start flying by the end of June. So that's also very good for us. So in terms of air service development, we're very happy with the confirmations. We can almost say that all airline partners have already confirmed that they will start flying back to Curaçao as soon as the borders announcements are open. We already have a tentative schedule as of July moving forward, July 1st meaning. We also know that they will gradually be increasing service back based on the demand and based on how well the island is doing. So I always say it's in the consumer's hand to showcase this demand for the destination. And if we can be of service into convincing you to come to the destination, we will do it. But I think it has to be your personal touch, your personal story with the destination, to choose for the destination. I think as well to help the Caribbean out, as we are so dependent on the tourism industry, to offer you a great experience, but also your investment will help our children go to school, will help our economy grow.
So once life gets back to normal, which, fingers crossed is hopefully soon, what destination are you excited to go to?
Well, I was talking about it this week, and we were thinking about, okay, where should I go to? I think my first go-to destination is always Miami. I don't know why. I just love the Miami vibe. I would go to Miami. I would just go to Miami for. It's just a quick getaway to get out there and maybe to be in a big city again.
Yes, I know. That'd be great. Absolutely. Well, this has been so wonderful, Miles, and thank you so much for your time. We've appreciated learning more about Curaçao, and congratulations to you and your team on all the work that you're doing on the recovery. And of course, we wish you all well and keep well. And I, for one, can't wait to visit soon. So I'll definitely keep you posted. July 1st, I think you said, Ms. Eric. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and let's keep in touch. And I always say we're all in this together, and stay safe.